What's going on, Cross Sheeple? Welcome back to the channel. It's me, Levi, with my sealed only Shaddoll deck, and today I'm going to do something that we haven't done at all. I'm going to take this deck onto EDO Pro and basically test it out against other decks. Now, this is the same build that I was using for week 10 minus 2 cards. I decided to put Dino-Miscus in instead of Mirror Force, and I cut one of the Shekanaga for the Appaloosa that Ben just for some reason didn't put in his deck. So those are the only 2 changes that I made. Same as episode 10. Side deck down at the bottom. I know we don't usually show them in the deck profiles, but we do use them. Also, I made all the beats for the background music in this, so hopefully you guys, if you don't like the duels, you can jam out to those. Alright, game 1, we're going up against Gravekeepers, and I mean, if I can't beat Gravekeepers, it would just be bad. He tries to add Necro Valley, I ash it. Summon Alistair, add invocation, activate invocation, Mechaba, invocation to add Alistair back. He tries to use the guard to bounce my Mechaba. Nope. Have to negate that. Lancia, I don't really need it against this deck. One thing that sucks about main decking Lancia is it only hits a few decks. So add Meltdown, add Alistair, activate Alistair, effect to add invocation. And then boom, double Mechaba. We're gonna go ahead and hit the battle phase, swing in for 5k, and pass it over to him. He draws. Dude was really chill actually. He said he just got back into the game, but he draws, realizes he can't beat that, and decides to scoop. Game number 2, he just T-sets, and I go ahead and start doing my invocation stuff, activate Alistair. For some reason I didn't activate Meltdown first, but attack into his spy, it's too beefy, and he summons from the deck, so I just pass, wait for him to summon, and then activate Torrential Tribute, clear his board, but he has basically Monster Reborn in a trap form, brings back his card, and then sends that card to add Necro Valley, and I don't like Necro Valley because I need to banish with invocation to summon Mechaba and whatnot. So, Winda, Liscomata, send Dragon pop that, clear his board, basically got him on the ropes now. Magical Cylinder, bro. He sets Cylinder. Use Incarnation to reborn the Squamata so I can flip summon it just to pop his face down. Then activate Invocation to make a Goatees, something like that. I'm not sure how to say it. And then Invocation to make Mechaba. So now I have the negate, but bro, Magical Cylinder. We were like laughing so hard when he activated that. He's like, it's a good card. I was like, yeah, it doesn't see much play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. So I activate that to flip down my Squamata, basically so I can just do the same thing, destroy with the flip effect. And then I believe I just normal summon, I use invocation to add the Alistair, normal summon Windy, and use both Alistairs to beef my Mechaba up to 4,500, basically to punch for game. And that's match number 1. Match number 2, we're going up against the Omega Condor and his sealed only rockets. For some reason, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna shotgun this Ash on the very first thing he does. Doesn't matter. You know how Dragon Link is. They can basically play through several interruptions. And he's basically gonna go full combo from here. You also have to take into factor that his deck is a sealed only deck too, so he doesn't play quote unquote full power Dragon Link. And some of his card choices may be different than what you'd expect in a normal Dragon Link deck, but he does have the majority of the cards. As you can see, the LP Pisty, Red MD, and he goes into the Saryuja and to fix his hand, and basically has 2 hand traps. Definitely check out their channel though. I should leave the link in the description for him. I thought he was going to go into Savage Dragon here, but he had me all confused. He goes into Anaconda, pays the 2k life points, and summons out the Big Void Dragoon. And on my turn, he basically just shuts me all the way down. Dragoon, negate my Foolish, Ash to negate my Shaddoll Fusion, and we actually had an issue with EDO Pro, it froze, but he basically had me on the rope, so we decided to call that game 1 for him. Game 2, I'm going first, and I hit him with the patent L set. I got There Can Be Only One in the back row, and it's the best card that there ever was, all I gotta say. He starts doing some dragon stuff, and then boom, there it is, Tikaboo. He realizes that There Can Be Only One is a really good card, and he also realizes in his 60 card deck he has 0 outs for There Can Be Only One. So I flip summon the beast, draw 2, discard incarnation, punch his wyvern. His wyvern's gonna add him a collapse serpent, activate El Shaddoll in battle phase, summon out construct to dump the windy, and then windy effect to summon the Squamata and face down defense. On his turn here, he tries to make a couple of plays, but he comes to the realization that with no main deck out to there can be only one, he can't win, and it's just a matter of time, so he scoops and decides to go first for the next game, but just basically try to win it game 3. Activates Dragon Shrine, send Absa Router. I ash the Absa Router, add, because I know he wants Rocket Tracer in hand. He goes for Striker Dragon. I hit the effect Veiler on that. Yo, can we just pause for a second and realize how fire my beats are? And now let's cry. So he goes into the rank 4 Abyss Dweller, which is really good against Shaddolls, honestly. He uses Anaconda to summon out Dragoon. I should have saved the Veiler knowing that he has Dragoon and was going to most likely go into Anaconda, but I didn't. I activate Meltdown. He says no. Summon Squamata to just beat over the Abyss Dweller, but really it's just a matter of time. With Dragoon on board, he's going to burn me right here for 1800. Activate the effect. Send Beast to draw 1 card. I'm basically just trying to top deck Super Poly at that point. 24 to the face, activate Incarnation to summon back the Squamata. Dragoon just beats over it. I already used the effect, so it's just basically a wall at that point. On my turn, I set the Windy, then activate Incarnation to flip it. Really, this is just me trying to make a play, but I realize that I don't have a main deck out for Dragoon unless I can get like multiple Alistairs in hand and just beef up one of my fusion cards. So I go battle phase, attack is triple burst, he activates the effect to negate Construct's effect, but still has more attack, destroys it. And basically we just pass turn knowing that he's gonna burn us to death. So Mega Condor, GG's, he got the win. Guys, his link will be in the description, check out his channel for sure. On to the next match. Match number 3, we're up against Machina, however you say it. Normal summon, effect Veiler. Activates some card, I don't know what it does. Lets him draw, he special summons that monster. I realize he dumped his boss monster, Machina Citadel, to the grave, so I go ahead and go into Construct, and I banish it because it has an effect whenever one of his machine monsters is destroyed, he can special summon it. And then it has a quick effect where it destroys a machine monster and Raigekis, everything with less attack. So I destroy his other card, and I think he just realizes he can't win for some reason and just scoops. Game number 2, I side to go second, but he makes me go first, so I'm super confused. And I just have basically nothing I can do except for add invocation and pass. This one I realized he's playing a lot of ancient gear cards. I should have known that because he did send one of his ancient gear cards at the beginning, but he makes the mistake of linking them off. Yeah, and basically he leaves all those effect monsters on board and doesn't summon a monster from the extra deck. On my turn, I'm basically gonna lose. But look, I draw another Shaddoll Fusion. My Shaddoll Fusion is live, so I can send cards from the deck instead. Special summon Ariel, face down defense, and Beast to draw 1 card. And then now that I have more monsters, I'm basically I start popping off and going crazy. Use Ariel effect to summon back the Construct. I'm basically just doing some random combo that's not a real combo, and this guy just watches me do the whole thing. Summon out a Mechaba, invocation in the grave to add Alistair, Raigeki his field, punch him in for what, 3,500 here, El Shaddoll in battle phase, 2,200 more, and at this point it's basically just GG's. He has nothing he can do. Match number 4, we're going up against TCG Wolf, another good friend of the channel. His link will also be down in the description. It's basically Shaddoll Invoked versus Shaddoll Invoked mirror match. I hit him with the L set pass, chain off of his El Shaddoll, and then none of my effects can activate because of Magical Meltdown. So he sends Dragon and pops my There Can Be Only One, uses Construct to beat over my Winda. I add El Shaddoll back to hand. As soon as he summons Alistair and adds Invocation here, I decide to go ahead and send the Lancia because I don't want him to make a Mechaba. Activates Reborn, summons Construct to Cross Sheep Zone, activating both of their effects. Then summons back the Alistair, goes into Anaconda. He has Dragoon too, and guess what? I can't out this card, unfortunately. I try to use Invocation, he says nope. I just have to set and then pray that he can't kill me this turn. He just goes straight to battle phase, attack, and then activates El Shaddoll Fusion in battle phase to summon out Winda, and that's going to be game 1 GG's. Game 2. For some reason in my brain, I think going second is a good idea. So I decide to let him go first, and basically he just goes through the invoked moves, send Trick Clown, summons it back, takes 1,000, goes into cross sheep, invocation, summons Mechaba to his zone. For some reason, can't use the cross sheep though. El Shaddoll into Winda, then goes into Anaconda. And guess who's back? Now, if I were to draw Super Poly here, yeah, I could out his board, but the thing is, I don't. I have 0 fusion cards in hand, so I activate Meltdown. He sends his Shaddoll fusion to negate it. Then I Raigeki the rest of his monsters and basically just set one. I try to activate There Can Be Only One and hope that maybe, you know, it will slow him down. But really, like, I'm just thinking to myself, how am I going to get over his Dragoon? I'm like, I have no idea what to do. He ashes my Hedgehog to add from deck. I use Shaddoll to bring it back. He just beats over it again. Like, I'm literally just up against the ropes. He took 3,000 damage, all for his doing. He basically did half the work for me, and I just can't get over his cards. Like, I'm just basically walling up, and then he just beats the crap out of me. GG. Match number 5. We're going to go up against my brother's Skystriker deck. I activate Magical Meltdown, go into Alistair to add Invocation. Then we're going to go into Winda, using Beast to draw 1 card. Now, Ben's Skystriker deck, it's a little different. It's kind of spicy. He uses Mage Power, which is an equipped spell. Basically gives 500 attack for each of your spell and traps, I believe. So his Hayate can TTK, 2-turn kill. But he decides to beat over my Winda for some reason. I have no idea. I draw Shaddoll Fusion, activate that. He MSTs my Meltdown. So I summon App Cologne, Chainlink 1 to negate Hayate, Chainlink 2, Dragon to pop Mage Power, Chainlink 3 to basically banish all of his cards in his grave, Chainlink 4 to negate App Cologne, Chainlink 5 to fusion App Cologne away so he can't negate it. Then I use App Cologne to add back Windy, then send the Windy, then use Construct to send Shaddoll. Windy summons Skomata face down defense. I summon out a Mechaba, use Invocation to add the Alistair back to hand. I go battle phase and I attack his Hayate, then I attack directly with Construct for 2,800. He draws for turn and gets a DD Crow, activates Armory Call, and he uses Armory Call to add Hercules base, equips it to my Mechaba so basically it can't attack directly. I activate Meltdown, add an Alistair, flip summon up to Skomata, summon the Alistair, attack, and then use the Alistair in hand to beef up my Construct to punch for game. Not sure why, but he lets me go first, game 2. So I use Meltdown to add Alistair, summon Alistair, add Invocation, then I activate El Shaddoll Fusion to go into Winda with Beast, draw 1 card, and I set There Can Be Only One. Of course, he MSTs the Tikaboo, summons Ray, summons Hayate, double Mage Power. Maybe he should have kept the MST and just set that also, and his Hayate would have been even bigger, but he attacks for 5,500, passes turn. I go ahead and activate the second Magical Meltdown, adding Alistair, activate Invocation, summon Agodes to pop his Hayate. He uses the Ray effect to special summon it back. Invocation engrave, summon Alistair, add Invocation back. Right here, he trains Ray to summon Kaina, but I think he realizes he can't use Kaina's effect because of Meltdown. So he uses Eagle Booster to save his Kaina from being destroyed this turn. And then I pass. I don't think he realizes that Agode's effect, when a monster special summoned, it activates to destroy 1 monster. So I destroy his Kagari, then he tries to use Ray, I negate with Mechaba. He MSTs to destroy the Metaphos Fusion, and then he draws Foolish Burial, and then basically just sends the Metaphos Fusion back to the grave. I draw for turn, I use the Invocation Engrave to add the Alistair, normal summon the Alistair. For some reason, I thought I had game on board, then I realized I was 100 life points short if I used the Alistair effect. So I just go ahead and pass. He uses Metaphos to draw, he actually gets a Ray off the top, goes into Kagari. Kagari effect to add a spell, Agodes to pop it, Eagle Booster to save it, Mechaba to negate. So the chain resolves, he gets the Ray back on board, then he summons out Hayate, uses Sharkkin to steal my Aerial, links into Zeke, Zeke pop Mechaba, then he uses Zeke effect to pop his back row to gain 1,000, tries to beat over my Agodes, but I have Alistair in hand, so I beef it up. Then he realizes that he made a mistake and that he has no way to stop me from gaming him. I beef up my Agodes to 4,500 attack, finish him off with Cross Sheep. GG's. On to match number 6. And now Ben is going to be playing with his Dragon Maid deck. So anyone who's seen his Dragon Maid deck profile, this is the deck that he's playing right here. I go into window and then I set one basically so he can't special summon. He uses Earnest on my turn so he can summon out the chamber because he knows he's only going to be able to summon once. I activate there can be only one, and he's kind of blocked right now. But unfortunately he has Ice Dragon's Prison. Summon my beast, banish both of them. I flip Skomata because I want a Tikaboo. Now I destroy his chamber and pass it over to him. He World Legacy Guard Dragon Monster Reborn, aka his chamber back. I Forbidden Chalice it. He Dragon Maid cleans up it to send it back to the hand, and my there can be only one, and the effect resolves. So he goes ahead and normal summons out his kitchen and uses its effect. Then he summons out Shao with Dragon Maid Changeover, and look how his deck just like recurs and builds advantage of. He goes into the Guard Dragon stuff with LP, moves it with World of Legacy Guard Dragon, summons out Nurse. Nurse Monster Reborns out the Parlor. Then he goes into Crossroads, summons out Pisty. Like, this deck is so good at recurring. And then look who he brings out. Boral Sword Dragon. I try to pop his Boral Sword, but of course he's going to negate that with Shao and summon out his house. Boral Sword effect to gain attack, and then he doesn't even need to attack with Boral Sword again because he already has game. For some reason, I decide to let him go first. Bad idea. He normal summons out Chamber. Chamber adds him Changeover, Hospitality, summon out Lorpar, like World Legacy Guard Dragon back out the Parlor, send another one to grave, sends the Tiding, summons a Shao, then uses Tiding to special summon the Chamber back. Guard Dragon plays, we just saw this, look here they are again, summons out the Nurse from the deck, goes into Crossroads, Pisty again, summons the Nurse, goes into Hieratic Seal, goes into Appaloosa for 3. In my standby phase, activate Shao to revive Nurse. Nurse brings back Parlor. Parlor sends another Tidying. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Invocation here. And he cannot negate, so I chain block him. Chainlink 1, App Clone, Chainlink 2, Beast, Chainlink 3, Aerial. He cannot respond due to Magical Meltdown, so negate his Shao. Go into battle phase and I take out his Appaloosa. His Shao is negated, so I don't feel like it's really a threat at this point. And I banished his fusion spell that's in this grave. But he, in fact, plays another one in his side deck, apparently, and knows that I like to banish stuff. So he activates the Changeover and brings out a new Shao, Hospitality to summon Nurse, Nurse to summon Parlor, and basically starts bouncing into his big dragons. He uses Shao, and I try to use Alistair to beef it up, but he negates, and then he attacks, can't be destroyed by battle, so I lose 500. But when Ernest returns to the hand, he activates House Effect, which can let him pop my App Cologne. App Cologne, I grab the Aerial, then I send the Aerial back to grave. I banish my Alistair and his Changeover and Shao. He summons out the Hieratic Seal and then passes. I use Invocation. Then I use Chalice on his Hieratic Seal. He bounces the World Legacy Guard Dragon back to hand, and then he summons Nurse from deck. Nurse effect to summon Parlor. Parlor effect, he dumps. Looks like the one that lets you, basically I can't target his Dragon Maids with effects this turn. I use Alistair. He uses Ice Dragon Prison to banish my Alistair, and then activate Invocation using the Alistair in hand and his Hieratic Seal to make Mechaba. I attack his Parlor, but I mean he has 2 big dragons on board. I can't get over those without having an Alistair in hand. His battle phase, he just beats right over my cards, punches me, and then starts using his little dragons to basically just keep recurring. And that's the thing with Dragon Maids, they really just can keep recurring and keep recurring. So for my turn, I draw Torrential Tribute, I activate Invocation and Grave, add the Alistair back, and then just set Torrential Tribute, knowing that he's going to summon something on his turn. I'm going to try to wipe his board. And in fact, I do that, but unfortunately, Ernest can't be destroyed by card effects, apparently, if you have another Dragon Maid. So I kind of clear his board, but it's just not enough. And then it looks like he's going to activate World Legacy Guard Dragon, start bringing stuff back, and he's got so many cards in hand, like it's ridiculous. He sets a couple back row, and then I summon out my Alistair, and look, it's met with the Imperm. And that Imperm basically is going to seal the game for him because he's going to be able to bounce into his big dragons on his turn. If you guys haven't, go check out the Dragon Maid deck profile on the channel. I mean, this is the deck that he's playing here. And that's basically going to make us have a 3-3 record. 3 wins, 3 losses. On to the next duel. And guess what we're playing against? Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yeah, that's right. I normal summon Alistair, invocation, and then I basically make Mechaba pass with Dino-Miscus set in the back row. Imperm. Negates it, Whitestone of Legend. I swear to God, this dude, he like legit brings that Whitestone of Legend back to his hand like 3 times and just keeps spamming it. Not once per turn, by the way. He summons Needle Fiber, summons another one, goes into the Guard Dragon stuff. I try to pop the LP here because I'm like, maybe this will slow him down, and it really doesn't at all. He uses World Legacy Guard Dragon, moves the LP or the Pisty over, and summons back out the Whitestone of Legend. Links all of them off into Saryuja so he can draw 4 and put 3 back. Like, bro, this deck is low-key kind of crazy. The Blue Eyes alternative destroys my Mechaba. He summons out Chaos Dragon Levianeer, then he uses Saryuja effect to summon out Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he's got OTK on the board. And I just feel embarrassed because I just got my cheeks clapped by Blue Eyes White Dragon. So let's go game 2. Game 2, I decide to let him go first because I don't want to get OTK'd again. And he has a bunch of, it looks like danger cards in his hand. And he starts going through the motion of summoning all the danger monsters, goes into Halki Fiber Axe, Whitestone of Legend, not once per turn by the way. Starts doing the Guard Dragon stuff. This dude was actually really chill too. He was okay with me using the replays, and like we were chatting back and forth during the duel, and you know, he was just saying like this deck is kind of crazy. I was just like, bro, what is going on right now? He activates Galactic Spiral. He summons out some Blue Eyes card that basically can negate graveyard effects. I think he said he misclicked, and that's why he ended up like landing on that board right there. So I summon out Construct and chain block the important stuff, but he activates Erratic Seal and bounces my Construct back to the extra deck. And then he summons out Goliath, which basically locks me out from special summoning. So I flip the Squamata to pop that so I can special summon still. He summons out Brochar, but I literally just, there's nothing I can really do. Invocation, I can only use the monsters in my hand unless I summon an Invoke monster. He summons a Levianeer, he summons the Whitestone of Legend, breaks out Borreload Savage. I summon out App Cologne to negate the Borreload Savage, and then I chain block with the Windy and Squamata effects. I set the Beast off of Windy, and then I send Hedgehog effect to add a Squamata to hand. He uses the Return of the Dragon Lords to bring back the Blue Eyes alternative, and it pops my App Cologne. I add back, I think, Shaddoll Fusion. And then he just starts beating over my stuff. I bring the Trick Clown back just basically to wall up, flip the Beast, draw 2, discard 1. Now I have Return of the Dragon Lords highlighted basically over there in the top left corner. Read the bottom effect. It says if a dragon monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card instead. So I destroy his Hope Harbinger, and then he's going to summon here the Chaos Dragon Levianeer, I believe, and I try to activate Torrential Tribute. Chain Dino-Miscus, bring it back. But unfortunately he banishes the Return of the Dragon Lords to save both of his dragons, and then he literally finishes me off with Blue Eyes White Dragon and Borreload Savage. After I dueled that Blue Eyes player, I played another Blue Eyes White Dragon player, but I think he just bricked. When I looked at the replays, like he just didn't have good cards in his hand, and so he just scooped game 1. Game 2 I got 2 Mechabas on board and he scooped again. I also had a match against Tri-Brigade, but I just bricked so hard and that game was pretty boring. So I cut the Blue Eyes game and I cut that Tri-Brigade loss. So this game here against Spellcasters, he tries to use the Fairy Tail Luna effect to add another 1850 to hand. I negate it, then he tries to bounce my Mechaba. I send another Mechaba to negate that effect as well. He uses Solemn Judgment on my Alistair, and then I attack with Mechaba. He only has 1500 life points left. He's really on the ropes. He draws for turn, he activates United We Stand and equips it to my Mechaba, and activates Secret Village of the Spellcasters. So I draw for turn, activate Foolish Burial, send a Windy, and then I set a Squamata, activate Shaddoll Fusion, and diffuse into Construct. Then I send, I believe, Dragon here to pop his last card that's face down, because I'm just not sure what it is, and I don't want it to like interfere with battle phase. Attack, game 1. Game number 2, he decides to go first, and he starts with an Upstart Goblin. Summons out the Light Fairy Tail card, Ties of the Brethren, so he can summon out 2 cards. He summons out a Fairy Tail and an Ecclesia. Ecclesia adds some Dogmatic or Punishment, and then he sets the punishment and passes. I start off with El Shaddoll Fusion, summon out a Winda, Chainlink 1 Windy, Chainlink 2 Hedgehog. Hedgehog adds Quad Shaddoll Kios. Windy's going to set Esquamata face down defense. I activate Foolish Burial, to send Dragon to bait out his punishment. He tries to target my Winda, but Winda can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. He pops the Squamata with Natis, and I send El Shaddoll Fusion. I set the Windy because it can't beat over any of those cards. And this past turn, he activates Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Winda can't be destroyed, and then when everything is summoned, I activate Windy effect, and then I activate Torrential. Torrential wipes the board, and then Windy sets me a Beast in face down defense mode. He just sets one card and passes. On my turn, I flip the Beast to draw 2, discard 1 card. Activate Meltdown, normal summon my good friend, Alistair. Alistair adds Invocation, activate Invocation, banish one of his cards, and I summon out Mechaba. He tries to target my Mechaba here, but I just chain El Shaddoll to dodge the Dogmatica punishment, and then I summon a Construct, and with the Alistair in hand, that's going to be game, baby. GG, no re. Went 5-5 total. If you made it to the end of the video, you're the real MVP. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you aren't. Really appreciate it, and it does help out. Drop a comment down below. Roast me for losing the blue eyes. Take care of yourself, and did I mention subscribe? Because guess what? It's free. Hope you guys like my dope beats. Subscribe. Peace. Have a good one.